If you're stuck and it's been a really long time since you've seen any progress on rhythm guitar, this episode is going to help you start to move forward again. Career beginners. So stay tuned. Hello and welcome, friends, to this episode of the Play Guitar Podcast. It's Lee again, and I'm here to give you the podcast that's determined to make you a better guitar player. No matter if you're just starting out or you've been playing for years, this is the show that will help you become the guitarist that you always wanted to be. If you are new here, hello. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and make sure you check out the description. That's where all of the links from the show are. How's everybody doing today? We're going to be talking about career beginners. Is that something that sounds like it resonates with you? Career beginners. What does that mean? What is a career beginner? This is someone who's stuck and has been stuck probably for a very long time. There's a lot of things that go into it. We're gonna talk about each little syndrome of the career beginner. But a lot of people have wonderful high hopes for what they're going to play with the guitar and borderline on defeated a lot. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should just quit. There's a lot of reasons why you may be stuck for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I've seen it playing the same old things. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and we're going to talk about why rhythm guitar, working on your rhythm guitar, is the most important thing at this time in your career beginner stuckness, where you're stuck. So where did that come from? The term career beginner, I just said it one day on one of the podcasts, and I don't know where I heard it. I must have heard it somewhere, and it just stuck. It just fit the students that I was trying to help learn, who are long haulers, who have been in it for a very long time and weren't getting any results. It applied. I've been helping people in this situation the whole time I've been teaching. From my earliest private sessions, I worked at Wilmington Music School for a little bit. When I was in college, I taught people. Also, then I was at Backbeat Music for a while. And then over at Lee's Lessons in Forsyth when I owned that place. And then now online, there's no shortage of people who are going through this problem. So you're not alone. If you feel like, there's something wrong with me, or there must be something wrong with a lot of people. There's a lot of people that struggle with this. And there are some people who are great guitar players now who were career beginners for a long time before they busted out, before they broke free of this problem. I've had students that would play the same things over and over again, and they were getting frustrated with themselves. But this was where they were, and they couldn't break free with that. We're going to talk a little bit about why that happens in a few minutes. And I don't know why it sparked such a reaction. So, usually on a podcast, if you do a good job, you don't hear a lot back. On an educational podcast, if you really teach something right, people are off to the guitar and they're doing it and they're applying it to their practice. You don't hear a whole lot. When you do something not so good, that's when you hear it, right? So I'm very appreciative when I hear back from something that went well. And when I first said, the term career beginner for guitar players, I got a lot of emails from that. And I heard from a lot of students, a lot of people in person. And this is something that people resonated with. Okay, now I know what my problem is. I can't get out of this stage. No matter what I do, I try to learn advanced stuff. It doesn't stick. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It puts your finger on the problem. Okay, this is what my problem is. And once we do that, that's the first step to moving forward with these things. But like I said, when I heard back about that, I loved it. And so if you're getting a lot of results from the podcast, feel free to let me know about it. You can go over to the website, Play Guitar Academy, hit contact, and it just sends me an email through there. Been struggling with emails for the first 2 weeks of this year because we've been doing the Boost Camp 2024, and today is the last day. Or when you hear this, it was yesterday was the last day. So my schedule's going back to normal again, starting tomorrow, and I'm going to have dedicated time to go back through the emails that I've missed and answer some new ones too. So let me know. I would love to hear. It makes my whole week when I hear that something that I put out there has helped. But career beginners, it does resonate. What's my job with career beginners? I help people overcome challenges they didn't even know that they were up against. And I help people put their steering wheel in the right place. I help them focus on the things that they should be doing, not the things that might feel comfortable, that might feel good to play, but they're not actually moving you forward at all. So let's talk about the syndromes. That's what I call it. So the people I've taught in this category have a lot of things in common. And some might have just one of these, some have all of these things. But let's talk about this. You have number one, the everything sounds the same syndrome. Okay. The next one is playing the same thing over and over syndrome. You see where we're going with this, right? The next one is I only want to learn one thing. I just want to learn this syndrome. Okay. The next one, the other son, being set in your ways, that syndrome. I'm going to do it this way. This is how I've always done it. I'm just going to keep doing it that way. Another one is the don't want to know why syndrome. I don't know why this works. I just want to do it. Right. The next one is the no confidence syndrome. I could try this, but it's probably not going to go well. That type of self-talk right there. The next one is the don't practice syndrome. I just don't practice. The next one is the buy lots of gear syndrome. Avoidance, right? Avoiding the problem by buying something that makes you feel good. The next one is resignation syndrome. Just resign yourself that this is just how it's always going to be. I guess that is it for me right here. And each one of these little syndromes, whether you have one of them, two of them, or all of them sound familiar, they all end up in the same place. That is the borderline of playing and quitting guitar. Have you been there? You know what it feels like, right? And it would be an easy thing, if you didn't care. But what makes this difficult is that most career beginners, they love the guitar, and either they stick with it or they keep coming back to it for decades without any forward motion. Most of the students I've helped with this are more solid in rhythm, but they're dabbling in lead. Across the board, that's kind of what I find people in this. There's something about the rhythm that they can't master. And they want to go on to lead, but they don't even, probably the thing that's in rhythm guitar that they're missing is the thing that would help them in lead guitar as well too. So what we're going to do, we're going to acknowledge that, hey, there's some things in rhythm guitar that are really missing. I'm missing a lot there. And I know it. I can hear it in my playing when I listen to other people's playing and in my playing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to encourage you to put on the blinders. Stop looking around at everything. Stop wanting to do all those things. And look at what the next thing is that you need to do to move your guitar playing forward. You may not have ever done this. Start to focus on rhythm guitar first. I want you to agree with me on this. Let's make a pact. Let's make that decision together. We've made a decision, me and you. We're going to focus. We're going to finally get our rhythm guitar down and solid. What I'm trying to do for you today is I'm trying to give you a system. And this is not a system across the board. This is for people who are stuck. Some of it is playing. Some of it is a mental thing. And you'll see as we go on. But what happens when you don't have a system? Right? You probably haven't had one. You just have a desire to play the guitar. And then you have time with the guitar, but you don't have a system to work forward. What happens with that? Well, you're hoping. You're hoping for luck, right? You want to get lucky. Maybe I'll get lucky and figure this thing out, right? Well, how has luck worked out for you at this point? You don't need to get lucky. I can't rely on luck. We don't need that. What we're going to do is we're going to carve our own path, and we're going to get you out of the career beginner rut. We're going to start today. What do you need? Let me get more comfortable here. We're going to get into this. What do you need as a career beginner? Well, what you need is a quick win. You need something to happen good that's different than the same old. You need it quickly. So rhythm guitar is a great place for that to happen, because there are some stumbling blocks with rhythm guitar, but it's nothing that you can't master with a little bit of time and a little bit of direction. So let's talk about topic number 1 right now. The big thing. We'll start right off with the big thing. The overcoming your set ways in rhythm guitar playing. Overcoming this is how I do it. The A chord, I always play it here. It's either here or here. It's either an open position or it's at the 5th fret. Right? That's where A lives for us. Well, first thing I want you to realize that's not true. There are A chords all over this guitar, and you might have a reason to play them in different places. So taking something as simple as an A chord and trying to find different places. Let's see here. Here's one that you've never played before. And they might look familiar to as simple as the caged shapes. Trying to play an A in different places. Just doing that. Just getting away from, maybe you play the same songs over and over again. Well, when you do that tonight, why don't you try to play those chords in a different place just to challenge yourself? Haven't done a lot of challenging yourself. This would be a good thing. So you could even play the A up high, play it as a bar, that A right there. You could play it as a G shape here. Pretend like your first finger's a capo. Whoa, how about that? Cool stuff. You could take, instead of playing the full chord, you could look at the note. What are the notes in the chord? Even if you have to count up A sharp, B, C sharp, D. If you have to count out and figure out maybe just 2 of those notes, and maybe play a chord fragment in one of your favorite songs instead of that chord. Maybe play it up high. Start getting yourself into some new territory. Get away from, this is how I do it. This is always how I do it. And this is always how I'm going to do it. We're going to embrace, some change. We're going to get adaptability, right? We're going to be able to adapt to new things. We're going to take a look at new songs, and we're going to say, hey, there's some chords in there I don't know. Instead of running from them, we're going to take a little look at them. I would bet within 10 minutes, you'll be able to figure them out and play them in all sorts of different places. It's very important to being open to new ideas and new styles. Even if, say you're into heavy metal, and there's, you're mostly playing power chords all the time. And that's the music that you love to play. I love to play, I don't have distortion on right now, but just power chords, right? Well, I know in my own journey with the guitar, I started off with power chords too, but I didn't know why they worked. I didn't even know what the notes were in there until I started learning chords from other styles of music where I would have the root, the third, and the fifth. And then I'd realize, oh, okay, well, basically my power chord only has 2 notes, the root and the fifth, and has a double of the root there, right? So it's missing a note. Oh, that makes sense. That's why when the singer sings, they'll sing in a major way or a minor way. That note that they're hitting, it finishes the half of a chord that I'm playing. It finishes my power chord. What the bass player is playing, what the singer is singing, if there's another guitar playing a major chord or a minor chord. So these power chords that you're playing, they are major chords or minor chords. You're just not playing that note, but it's happening somewhere else in the song. A lot of the times when I first started playing, I didn't realize that most of these metal songs I was playing were minor. I had no idea whether they were major or minor or not. Well, how did I know? I started trying to learn the notes that the singer was singing. This is when I first got into scales, and they would fit into the patterns. And I'd say, oh my gosh, when that A chord's playing, when the singer sings that, that's the same thing as my minor scale. So if I played the chord as a minor chord, even if say I turned the distortion off and I just played it this way, it matches with the singer. So that was a big thing for me. And it, thinking a little bit into this is going to really, really help you classify the things that you're playing and be able to use them in many different styles of music, even though you may only play the one style and that's all you want to play. Try a new song, try a new style. Do something that's easy first. Don't go on YouTube and pick the most difficult song that you could play. That's not where we're at. We are career beginners. We have been stuck probably for a very long time. We are backtracking. This is how I always do it. I do it in my coaching for every new student. I find out where they are, what they can do, but what they missed. What are the little things that in their playing that they need to build up to match everything else? One of the things that I would suggest is learning more about strumming and rhythm. Learning about what's the difference between quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3, and triplets, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 16th. What's the difference between those things? When I'm playing this song, am I playing quarter notes? Am I playing eighth notes? How do I figure that out? Where's the snare drum hitting in the song? Especially in rock music, on the 2 and the 4. If you can hear where the snare drum is, you know where your quarter notes lie. That's the 2nd and the 4th. And the bass drum usually is on the 1st and the 3rd. Boom, bap, boom, bap, right? So how do your notes line up with those? Think about these things. You're going to get some light bulb moments from this. Oh gosh, I've been playing this thing for years. I didn't even know that I was playing 16th notes there. I just thought it was super fast. Then you can start to see how things subdivide and how these beats can split, and you can add in cool rhythms. One of the things I love to do is hear a great rhythm guitar player improvise with their rhythms, with their chords. And that's something that you might get into too. One of the things I could help you with in the academy, I have a whole section 102 that explores strumming and rhythm patterns and shows you how to mix and match them. It's a 12-week course for everyone who's in the academy. Just go in for a month, check it out. It will help you. How about topic number 2? Conquering fear in rhythm guitar. What does that mean for us? This is the no confidence. This is I'm never going to be very good. I'm not great at this stuff. There are young kids that are picking up the guitar that are just knocking it out of the park. And I've been playing this for 30 years and I haven't gotten any far like that. So it's just not for me. Fear of failure has a lot to do with that. I don't want to look silly. I don't want to take the chance, put it out there. Overcoming the fear of making mistakes is probably the biggest change that happens between an intermediate and advanced player. Not worrying about playing mistakes. An advanced player knows there's probably going to be a percentage of mistakes in a night of music. It's going to happen. And they don't let it get to them. They don't sweat it. Why? Because they know the other stuff so well that when that comes up, that mistake comes up, they can kind of focus on it and say and fix it as it happens, right? I'm going to play it again like Duane Allman did I forget what song it was, but it's on the live album. Yeah, and he played it wrong, and the next time that part came around again, he played it the same way again, made it sound like he meant to do those things. But understanding that mistakes are going to happen, and it's okay. And they happen to everyone. This guitar is a mistake machine, right? It's not a user-friendly instrument. It's not going to be perfect. It's not perfect even in itself. It's not even in tune with itself. It's an imperfect instrument. That's what's awesome about it. Your mistakes could be the launching pad for something really, really cool. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. In fact, what you could do is when you're playing over a backing track, just pick a note that's not in the key and try it. See what happens, and try and work your way out of that. So say you're playing a G chord. You might decide, okay, I'm going to embellish this with the second fret on the B string. Oh, that's horrible, right? But when you take that second fret and slide it up one, it sounds like tension and release. Sounds like a Led Zeppelin song I heard one time. So horrible here, but then when you slide it up one, oh, he meant to do that. It was tension and release. I just picked a note here, and then I listened to it. And I figured, how can I make that mistake into something really nice? I might write a song around that. Other people have. So trying something new is always a big fear thing, going and sitting in with people if you're not used to doing that, playing guitar with other people, dealing with people's opinions and those things. It's always something that makes people kind of, some people just step back. Some people, it makes them freeze in their tracks. They can't handle it. That's not what they got into guitar for. They got into guitar to just go to the room, play guitar, and have the personal enjoyment of that. But I would ask of you to give it a shot, to try getting together with some people and playing music. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but when it does work out, it opens a door that you didn't know was there. And then you start to see, oh, okay, this thing that I'm playing isn't just for me. I can be the person who's giving this music to other people. And now it's not you and some other people's just playing. If you're playing for an audience, one person, two people, your approach changes to the guitar. And it could be something that gets you out of a rut too. It gives a little adrenaline to your situation. I've had success story after success story of success over time of students who have conquered their fear and thrived. I have coaching students right now, 3 of them right now, who are putting themselves in awkward situations at open mic nights. I have students right now who are writing music that they never tried before. Right? Is it going perfect? No. Are they loving it? Yes. Why? Because they were scared. One of my students, I'm not going to say anything, was cussing me under his breath on the way to the first open mic night. Why am I? He's pushing me into doing this stuff, right? So getting your rhythm guitar together and using it in a way to conquer some of your fears, it could be a really nice thing too. And the last big thing for rhythm guitar players who have been stuck over the years in the same place, this is comfort versus persistence. It's easy to be comfortable. It's easy to go into your little practice room and play the same things over and over again because they sound good. They sound good to you. It feels good when you play something that sounds good. You feel like, oh, okay, here we go. And you have those things. You have those licks. You have those chords. You have those songs that you play over and over again because you can do them. And it makes you feel good because you can do them. Comfort versus persistence. So I want you to start thinking about these two things and how they should live together side by side. I have some things I'm comfortable with, but I have some things I'm being persistent with. We're talking about practice here. And I'm talking about adopting a new mindset with your guitar playing. We're blessed. We have this life here. And music is a huge part of it. If you're a music fan, if you are a musician, you love to play the guitar, you know how special music is. And you are here breathing today. Play some music. It's and what we want to do is we want to adopt a growth mindset. We want to realize the importance of viewing challenges as part of our journey, as part of our daily life, not just being comfortable all of the time. That's a big thing for a lot of these players. Well, I know this song, and this is a song I like to play, and I just like to play it all the time. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. If you've ever listened to my practice podcast, I always share the simplest thing. Split your practice into 2 parts. It's super simple. You know, what you do with those 2 parts, you can make it as complicated as you want, but you want to have a time where you're playing and you want to have a time where you're practicing. Playing, these are things that need to be kept up. These are songs that may be challenging or songs you haven't played in a while. Things that you need to put into repetition. The more you repeat these, the more that these songs, chords, chord progressions, licks, guitar solos, whatever they are, they're going to become a part of you. You're going to be able to do them without having to put much energy into those things. So playing is basically what you've been doing for a long time. But the other side of this is practice. Practice is supposed to sound bad. You have my blessings. Get out there and sound bad at your practice. Try something that you can't do. Why would I want to do that? Why would I want to go in my room and spend a half an hour working on something that I just can't do? It just sounds bad, right? Practice is important. You're not avoiding the things that are going to make you grow anymore. You're going to spend time. And the problem is we have to listen to this too. When we practice, we have to hear what we're playing. And sometimes your ear doesn't like what you're playing. So you say, oh, I don't like that. I'm going to move to another thing. Well, maybe you were 2 minutes away from getting that lick, getting that chord progression, and then growing as a musician. Maybe you just didn't put enough time into it to build your skills a little bit higher, and taking those things that don't sound great and put them out there. I've said this a million times. Your favorite guitar players, if they're not phoning it in, if they're the ones that are out there playing, that are, you see them every year getting better, they're practicing things that don't sound good on a daily basis so that they will sound good in the future. It sounds super simple when I say it, but in application, this doesn't happen. People, there's a huge part of comfort and avoidance in a lot of these career beginner guitar players. Don't be afraid to work on something that you're unsure of. Don't be afraid to, you could adopt a figure it out mindset, right? So you might be the type of person who could go out to the garage and build, you've got some spare wood, you could build something, you could figure it out, right? You might be the type of person that works on cars. You could go out there and figure out how to fix your car. I can't do that. You might be good around the house. You know, you might be good at golf. Maybe you start off with golf, you weren't that great, and then you figured it out, right? Take that mindset towards the guitar. This thing is not impossible. You can figure out how to get better at the guitar, and I can help you with that as well too. But the other side of this is persistence and stick to itness. It's tough. And I know it's tough. Say your family isn't supportive. Say that you're afraid that they won't be supportive. So you kind of hide your guitar playing. Being persistent and working on these things in a daily practice routine is where it's at. This is where you're going to change your life. It's not going to happen if you just think about it. It's not going to happen if you're just looking up new guitars to buy this week. That's not going to change the way you play. You can make a $10,000 guitar sound just as bad as a $300 guitar if you wanted to. And you can make a $300 guitar, if you know what you're doing, sound just as good as a $10,000. And you know that happens. You've seen it before. You've seen players who sound, I hear people say, oh, well, anything you do would play good, or anything you play would sound great. Why? Because those people know what the challenges are. They might have, okay, well, this guitar, I played for a minute. Oh, this guitar, it's a little stiff, so I'm going to have to put a little extra into it. But they overcome those challenges. They're not afraid of taking on something that's a little bit difficult there. So to sum it all up, when it comes to your chords, your chord playing, the songs that you play, stop being so set in your ways. Open yourself up to some new things, you could look up some new lessons to learn new chords. You could look up some new songs in a style that you haven't been able to do. Don't be afraid of doing any of these things. Fear is the next thing. Be fearless. I'll be fearless. You can be fearless along with me. I'll take a chance. I'll play something. I do it all the time here. Half the time I don't know what I'm going to play, and I just start playing some things, right? So who knows how it's going to go. There's getting your fear under control. And then the last thing is stop being so comfortable with the songs that you're playing. Stop just playing the same things over and over again. Make sure that you're persistent in trying new things and persistent in working on new rhythms and persistent in working on new songs. And don't be afraid to sound bad for a while. It's the only way that you're going to start to sound better. So thank you for joining me today. I have a couple things that could help you with this. So the first thing that I would like for you to do, head on over to playguitaracademy.com. And on the front page, I have some free guides for you. One of those guides is called the High Performance Guitar Scorecard. This is really a quick thing to do that's very, very, very helpful. There's a set of 20 questions, and it asks about where you are with the guitar, how you would rate yourself in 20 different areas. And then at the end, you give it's a 1 through 10 rating to each of those things for yourself. And they're all lined up. So at the end, when you do is you go through and see, okay, well, on this one, I had a 5. This one, like, I have a 1 on this one, maybe music theory. I don't know anything about music theory, but practice. I'm setting my price. Maybe I have a 10 at this. You'll see how it jumps all over the place, but you'll see the ones that are low. And what you want to do is find the median. Okay. I basically got the middle point is a 5 here. I had some 10s, had some 1s, but 5 is the midpoint. We want to start to bring those 1s, those low things up to a 5. It tells you exactly what you want to work on. So you can get everything kind of together. And then that's when things start to go really, really fast, and you start to see a lot of big wins in your playing. So grab that, take it. It's going to take you 5 minutes, and you're going to be really, really glad you did. It's the High Performance Guitar Scorecard. And also, if you need help, if you feel like this is something that you can't do all on your own, I'm here to help you. This is something I specialize in. I help coach career beginner guitar players to get them out of that rut. You can go over to the link in the description, and what it'll do is take you to a place where you fill out a little assessment, and that gets emailed over to me, and I'd be happy to meet with you, spend a little time with you, and we'll talk about what coaching is, and I'll learn a little bit more about the history of your guitar playing and why you may have become a career beginner guitar player. Thanks for joining me today for the Play Guitar Podcast. Make sure to hit the button below to subscribe to the show. And if you have benefited from this podcast, a review would really help, especially over on Apple Podcasts. That's the best way to make sure we get this valuable content to more players all around the world. And head on over to Play Guitar Academy. I've got some new courses. We just finished a really, really cool live event there. We'll be going live once a month, every month, and then every Wednesday we have our Q&A. Be great to see you over there. Thanks, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.